we're on to the Primal Sphere. The Primal Sphere is very, very interesting because it does a lot of different things. Whoops. Okay, yelling at screen. All right. Primal Avatar does a lot of different things that are weird. I don't know how to describe Primal Avatar. Let's take a look. So to start, you have Fury of the Wild, which is about two-handed weapons, adrenaline, and killing people, and big, big crits. Big, big crits for big, big damage. For big, big boys. They're really good. I didn't host myself, /host. Grim Tom. I didn't do that. Primal Avatar. Primal Avatar is all about something. I honestly don't know what this tree is supposed to do or what it does. It has spells. It has melee tree stuff. Honestly, I have no idea what this does. And most of it that it does do is garbage. So it's kind of weird. And then we have Shiradi Champion, which is this weird thing where it has a bunch of cool effects and spellcasters use it because for some reason it works with spells. Because it has 7% chance to proc an effect. And guess what? If you shoot guys, you have to shoot and then you can only shoot so many times. But if I throw a magic missile, I throw out 5. And if I'm playing as a sorcerer, I can throw out 2 magic missiles a second, which means I can throw out 10 chances to proc all this extra garbage. Weird. Yeah, it's really good. Not good for bow guys, though. There isn't even intelligence or charisma in this tree. Weird stuff. How did they change it? Well, let's start off with Fury of the Wild. So Fury of the Wild is apparently good. I disagree, but let's make it better. So the cores now add additional damage with two-handed weapons. Cool. So now you get 12 extra damage using a two-hander. That's real good. Fury Made Placid has an effect that people don't use. But apparently you can now gain Double Strike and PRR and MRR. You're still not going to use it, but that's fine. Unbridled Fury just has a 5-minute cooldown. You can now use Unbridled Fury while under anti-magic. I didn't know you couldn't. Multi-selector with Boulder's Toss. Instead of Boulder Toss, there's also Boulder's Might. Requires being in the two-handed fighting style to use, so i.e. no natural fighting. Take that, druids! We're taking our two-handed weapons back. Come on, barbarians and bards and fighters and monks. Plus 5 W attack, 6-second cooldown. Rank 2 and 3 add +1 and +2 crit multi on the attack. So you can put 3 points in here and have an attack that is 5 W and +2 crit multi. Pretty good. Then you have Devastating Blow, +1 crit multi. And Strong Swings. 10 melee power, while in the two-handed fighting style, this is 25 melee power. So now, you're going to be picking up, if you're using a two-hander out of this tree, you still have Adrenaline, which is good. Now you're getting an extra 25 melee power. You're going to be picking up an extra 12 damage. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here. So it's very powerful. I am thinking that Fury of the Wild, is it good enough? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've definitely thought about Fury of the Wild, and using it over Legendary Dreadnought a few times. One of the reasons why it's very interesting is because Fury of the Wild actually gives you the power to use Adrenaline and do big crits. For those that don't know what Adrenaline does, it's an attack that you make that is guaranteed to crit and does 5 times damage. So if you crit for 10k, congratulations, you just hit for 50k. So it's a very interesting effect, and it's very powerful. It's borderline good enough for burst phases. It makes me wonder how powerful this is actually going to be. I think it will be good, but we'll have to see. Next is Primal Avatar. So Primal Avatar, as I said, does something, but I don't know what. So now we have some changes. Spirit charges no longer exist. So all the stuff that's called the spirit charges don't happen. So Primal Travel doesn't cost spirits, just as a cooldown. Mighty Among the Spirits grants MRR. So great. Eternal Return doesn't cost spirit. No kidding. Walk with Spirits is no longer a toggle. You gain its effects for 30 seconds. Spirit Boon doesn't cost spirit. Avatar of Nature doesn't cost spirit. Each of its sizes now lasts for 6 seconds and has a 5-minute cooldown. Summer Smoke and all these things should stop the game from breaking constantly. So that's good. And yeah. So basically, the only thing that changed in Primal Avatar is that stuff that cost spirit didn't cost spirit. And if you don't know what costs spirit and you've been playing this game as long as I have, then congratulations. That's about what everybody knows about Primal Avatar. I think Primal Avatar will get a rework at some point that is commensurate to what is happening to everything else. But man, there's a lot going on in this tree, and most of it's bad. So it would take probably a lot of work. They said that the scope of this was something they can do in 3 weeks, and the fact that they couldn't do Primal Avatar changes in 3 weeks is not a surprise. So now let's talk about the last one. Charade Championi. So Charade is interesting because it's weird. It's really good for casters where you throw out lots of spells and warlocks, and it's really bad for bow users because bow users want ranged power and they want to be in fury so they can crit the hell out of people with their bows. Because with a bow, you can do some weird stuff. You get many shot, which gives you nearly 100 range power and like 120 double shot, so you're firing like 3 additional shots. And then you get to go into your enhancements, and you get to be a ranger. So you get to go into the Arcane Archer tree, and you get to scroll all the way to the bottom here, and you get this thing called Arrow of Slaying, which is 250 base damage. That can be multiplied by crits. So if you have a bow that, is a ×4 crit, because that's how bows are, and then so this is actually 1,000 damage, so that's kind of cool. And then that also happens to go into Adrenaline, which is going to be hitting and is doing multiples of damage. Then congratulations, you did 120,000 damage in a bow shot, which is kind of cool. So that's why you want to be in Fury. So why Sharadi? How do you make Sharadi appealing? Let's start. The 5 cores replace their existing attack and damage bonus with plus hit and damage with ranged weapons. Cool. Plus 6 to hit and damage. That's a good start. Favorable wins and Fey power now scale with range power. Wow, the on-hit damage doesn't scale with spell power. It scales with range power. Good idea. Stay Frosty, the cold damage stance, scales with range power. Wow. And gives spot and listen. Okay. Stay Good, scales with range power. Rainbows, random damage, scales with range power. Add a clarifying language, double rainbow, indicate that its effects may scale with range, melee, or spell power, depending on the origin of the effect. Whirling Risk grants double shot. Wild Shots grants 200%, scales with 200% range power. What the heck is Wild Shots? Dude, I don't even know what Wild Shots is. Wild Shots. Oh, Wild Shots. What is this? Hurl daggers in front of you? 20 D20s that scales with 200% range power? Okay, so let's just say you have 300 range power. So the average of a 20, or D20, is 11, I think? No, 10.5. Times 20 is 210. And it's scaling 200%. That's times 7. Yeah, I'm not sold. That's still bad. But it's neato. Cool. And then Rain of Arrows. Rain of Arrows no longer requires charging. Rain of Arrows has a 3-minute cooldown. Rain of Arrows scales with 200% range power. Rain of Arrows costs 1 AP. And Rain of Arrows tooltip now properly reflects its 20% of application per second. Previously read 10%. I remember that this Rain of Arrows thing here it was told that it was going to be a... that this effect here was supposed to have a marked area on the ground. I don't know if that's going to still happen, but I remember reading that somewhere. So it may or may not have a marked area, like the Ice Storm, but it's still kind of cool. Tea with the Queen costs 1. Track also debuffs fortification, sure. Stand and Deliver also grants crit multi. Wow. In the Weeds grants stats. And now we have a new Tier 6 Horizon Shot. Your next shot with a ranged or thrown weapon has 400% damage and plus 16 towards critical threat range. Hey! Adrenaline! It's right here in Sharadi Champion. The thing that made Fury of the Wild good with ranged is now in the ranged tree instead of Fury of the Wild. Oh my god. It's amazing. So Sharadi Champion is probably going to pull all the bow users there. So if I'm to summarize this whole thing, of all the destinies, check it out. Before, you used Legendary Dreadnought if you're a melee, Exalted Angel if you're a spellcaster, Unyielding Sentinel if you're a tank, and sometimes you would use Fury of the Wild if you were a ranged character instead of Legendary Dreadnought. But now, if you want spell damage, you go Draconic. If you want DCs, you go Magister. If you need a bunch of area buffs and you need to be multifaceted, or you want to buff your teammate, you go Fate Singer. If you want additional effects on your melee attacks, you go Grandmaster of Flowers. If you want instant kills and more melee defense, like evasion-based defenses, you go Shadow Dancer. If you want raw damage by probably 5 or 10%, you go Dreadnought. If you want some healing and support, you go Divine Crusader. Exalted Angel is still there as a good alternative where it's got a little bit of everything, DCs and the self-raise, so it's useful. Tanking and unyielding. Most range characters will probably play in Sharadi because of how good it is. And Fury of the Wild is really good for people who want to do really heavy burst damage and also two-handed melee fighters. Holy crap. This patch is going to make it so you want to use all the destinies, and they're different based on what you want to do. Very cool. I'm excited. Now, Sandstone Games has decided to make sure that they are cohesive and they pull everything together when they make stuff. So now, not only are these enhancements coming through, there's also new Epic Past Lives. The Epic Past Lives is great because you're going to want to keep playing and do your Epic Lives again because you want to muck around with new Epic Destinies. So why don't we get new Epic Past Lives? So what are they? Number one, in Arcane Sphere, you've got a new Epic Past Live, Ancient Knowledge, which gives you 3 MRR per stack, a total of 9 more MRR, as well as an extra 3% absorption, acid, cold, fire, and electric, which is really, really good. This gives you 12%, which is pretty rad. Divine Past Life, where Ancient Blessings, which is going to give you 5 heal, negative, and repair amp per stack, which means you get 15. Holy moly, that's good. Big fan of that, especially early game. This helps a lot, and more PRR. Tactics DCs and Assassinate per stack of this past life. Wow, Martial Sphere. That's so powerful. I really like the idea of getting +2 Tactics DCs because this gives you +6. Tactics is very hard to come by for some characters, especially in the early game. And now, if you want to go through this, you can actually say, hey, check it out. I'm going to go into my Tactics DCs, and I'm going to be a rogue. And as a first, or not a first life, but as a first level or second level rogue, you'll be able to use. Actually, you can't do it at first level because you don't get it till second. But as a second level rogue, you can use trip and knock people down regardless of what your strength is. So very cool. And then Primal Sphere, +2 to attack per stack of this past life feat. And if you're in the two-handed fighting style, you also gain +2 damage. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but +2 handed fighting style has gained 18 base damage so far in this patch. Or will be in this patch. That's real good, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Also, attack is very important. The Primal Sphere is double shot, fast healing, which is not useful in Reaper, and Colors of the Queen, which is pretty good. This +6 to attack is going to be very, very useful, so looking forward to it. So yeah, so that's it. Does this mean be a new Destiny in each sphere? There's no plans for new Destinies. Yee! No Destinies. No new Destinies.